Yo, what's up, fam? It is Lonabo Fololo. I'm probably gonna be the biggest Bitcoin bull you will ever find on your timeline because right now, guys, I'm just tired. I've been talking about Bitcoin since 2016, but right now, seeing news like this and seeing that people are actually not even paying attention to this, I'm gonna be making videos every single day, especially when it comes to news such as this, to make sure that everybody understands what's going on so that people can position themselves. Now, let's talk about this guy. This guy's name is Larry Fink. He's the CEO and founder of a company called Blackrock. Now, Blackrock is a juggernaut when it comes to financial institutions in the world. They are the biggest asset manager in the world. These guys control or own shares in almost every major company in the S&P 500. So whether you're talking about companies listed, in New York, you're talking companies listed in Tokyo, you're talking companies listed in Johannesburg, these guys own all the major companies. They control over $12 trillion in assets under management. Now, 4 years ago, this guy was very much against Bitcoin. But as we have predicted, nobody's going to be able to resist Bitcoin for long. They changed around and actually started embracing Bitcoin and other crypto assets. Now, last year, January 2024, they launched what is called IBIT, which is the first Bitcoin ETF, which basically allows other institutions, pension funds, and so forth to be able to get exposure into things like Bitcoin. All right. So now, this Bitcoin ETF by IBIT has been the fastest growing ETF in the history of all ETFs. Okay. Now, if you want to understand the impact of ETFs on assets like Bitcoin, look at what happened with gold when they introduced the first Bitcoin gold ETF in 2001 and 2004. All right. So the price of Bitcoin went soaring. Why? Because it meant that institutional capital can now be channeled into Bitcoin or gold, in the past because of the ETF, right? Because it's a regulated instrument. So right now, because of this instrument that BlackRock actually created called the Bitcoin ETF, even Discovery Invest in South Africa has a product that gives access to high net individuals that gives them exposure into Bitcoin. Right now, Signia in Cape Town, one of the big asset managers in South Africa, is also working with BlackRock to give exposure to people to Bitcoin. Okay. Now, am I a fan of ETFs? No. What am I a fan of? You owning your own Bitcoin, self-custodying your own Bitcoin in your own non-custodial wallet, in your own ledger, Trezor, or whatever, or even a hot wallet like Trust Wallet and so forth. But the object of the day, what I want to mention with this particular video is the fact that these guys, they are making over $260 million every single year due to this ETF. And guess what? It's only the beginning. You know what this guy is pushing for? He's actually pushing for institutional investors to push between 2 to 5% of their asset portfolio into Bitcoin. Okay, what is that gonna do for the price of Bitcoin? As he says in his own words, that will take Bitcoin upwards of $700,000 for one Bitcoin. That's about what, 7 times where the price of Bitcoin is today. That's what this guy is pushing for. And guess what's going to make this a lot easier for him? Right now, he is the interim chair of the World Economic Forum. Do you understand what that means? These people, this guy here, he speaks to sovereign wealth funds, he speaks to governments, he speaks to different kinds of people about getting their exposure into Bitcoin. Guys, the cat is out of the bag. Not only are large institutions coming into Bitcoin, but even governments, even central banks, no one is going to be able to resist Bitcoin because of its qualities as a neutral asset that cannot be owned or controlled by any particular government or so forth. It is a neutral asset. Okay, it is gold on steroids. Okay, it is gold that went to the highest and the poshest Ivy League or Model C school you can ever think of. Right, that is Bitcoin. The question is, what are you doing? These guys are only getting started. Okay, they are only getting started because of all the regulatory hurdles that they had to go through, which right now under Trump and elsewhere in the world is actually being fast tracked. Okay, so we're gonna see Bitcoin going to 700,000. As he says, I think it's gonna go beyond 700,000. We're gonna see $1 million worth of Bitcoin. As Michael Saylor says it, we will even see $10 million worth of Bitcoins. In fact, Julian Timmer from Fidelity Invest, I'm going to do a separate video about that one. He says Bitcoin can go as high as $1 billion US. Do you believe? The question is, what are you doing to accumulate your Bitcoins? Okay. If you want to have, if you have any information or you have any, questions around Bitcoin, how to get started, DM me. Let me help you get started. Cheers.